Happy Guitar Day. Let me go post the link over on our website. We're logging in a half an hour early today because I have a thing I get to go to, and I didn't know about this thing until moments ago. Well, a little earlier today. Link to join. It will appear on the DenverGuitarOrchestra.com website. Let me post this really quickly. Shift, and then we'll get started. Link. Bold. Enter. Edit. Settings. Open in a new link. Update. Update. Alright, let's see how we're looking. Alright, I think that should work. Vic is in. Sound is good. Hey Vic. Thanks for coming early. Apologize. I cannot seem to get in charge of this summer, and it has been crazy. Non-stop. Let's see. Wednesday opens up. Please open up to the right page. Denver Guitar Orchestra number 392. Alright, so it's opening up correctly. We're all set. Alright, let me go grab, let me close that window down. We need to play some guitar. Alright, and I'm going to make some adjustment. I'm playing on a giant stool. And that's not going to go well. Let me grab a guitar. And we'll see how we do. I notice when you go to things and they have acoustic guitars, they put them on these giant bar stools. And I cannot possibly think of a worse way to handle playing guitar than to sit on a bar stool. But that's what's done. That's the way it is. I also don't have a tuner on me for some reason. This is why we download tuners to our phones. Time to change strings. If the plastic strings don't need tuned and the metal strings do need tuned, you're probably ready for strings. How about that? Alright, now let me make a minor adjustment here. I'm going to have a giant piece of white window here for no reason other than I'm trying to get, maybe if I do this. Also, you'll hear the air conditioner running in the background. Maybe how about this? You can kind of see what I'm up to, right? If I feel like this. Alright, my usual studio has been taken over by some friends who had to move in because their apartment flooded. And so here we are. Alright, let's see. Today we are playing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Three Blind Mice, Wheels on the Bus, A-Tisket, A-Tasket, Las Mañanitas, Last Rose of Summer. Those are the things I'm guaranteed to get to. We're also going to try to get to Siciliano and Arcadian Lullaby for the classical program. Linda's back for more. Sandy's in. Big early work for me. Okay, good. And I do apologize. I don't mean to change the schedule as much as it's been changing, but I should know better that summer never goes the way I think it is going to go. And so anyway, here we are having a great time playing a little guitar. Hopefully if you weren't here live, you were watching the replay. Alright, Row, Row, Row Your Boat is the first one on our list. 3 ways to play. Grab your D chord. Okay. You can either strum it or you can pluck it. 4-finger pluck is thumb, index, middle, ring. All 4 of those fingers. And remember, the phrase that pays is, patience, Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. 6-8, we count in 2, 1, 2. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Ha, ha, fooled you, it's a submarine. Okay, Learned that from a kid last week at I taught at a violin institute, and I was enrichment for ukulele, and one of the little boys taught me that one. He taught me that. I don't think I taught him a thing. All right, let's play the melody from the top. Usually just use your thumb. Remember you're playing 2s, 3s, and 5s, so I'd probably play in 2nd position, and then I'd be ready to jump up here to 10th fret to get your melody in. Okay, so a little bar chord on 10. From the top, 1, 2. Go. Again, go. Remember when you get that last long note, just wiggle your finger. Don't lift it up and down, just wiggle it around, and you'll get a little vibrato out of your guitar. It always sounds professional, always sounds nice. Finally, we talked about last week that this is your first legit fingerstyle piece of music, so let's hope that it's starting to come together for you. Just use your thumb down on everything, and then remember when you get up here to the 10, 10, 10, you want to have your little bar on 10, and then your middle finger on the 11th fret of the 3rd string. And I usually pluck those, bum, 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 because they just sound better. But you could strum them for sure. Okay. And the nice part is the D string is open, so you don't have to press it down. You could press down the D string on 12 if you wanted to, but you don't have to. All right, grab your D chord. We'll go nice and slow. 1, 2. Challenges of not having the guitar set up properly with the proper stuff here is I'm holding the guitar and trying to get my left hand to do what it needs to do, and it's extra challenging. So using a strap or making sure you have set yourself up properly holding the guitar eliminates that. And so me setting this up here on the top of my leg doesn't help at all. All right, now let's talk about the hardest song in book 1. I almost hate this song, but I know it's coming up because I know that it's going to make you sad. And so let's make sure it doesn't make you sad. Grab your G chord. We have 3 ways of making a G chord: index, middle, and pinky. Okay. Notice if you're a ukulele player, it's just a C chord. Okay, so we put the index mat here in the middle here, and G chord, and then we have that's the chord. Okay. However, for this version, you're going to need to do middle, ring, and pinky. Okay. All right. There is another G chord. You don't have to learn it yet, but if you take your E chord from Frere-Jacques, you move it up and put a bar on the 3rd fret, E chord in front of it. That's also a G chord. Okay. When you first sharp bar chords, they sound like this. Okay, and that's fine. That's how they sound. That's how you start. Okay, 2 years from when you start, sounds like a G chord. Okay, but for this one, let's use middle, ring, and pinky. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. See how they run, see how they run. They all went after the farmer's wife. She cut off their tails with a carving knife. Have you ever seen such a sight in your life as 3 blind mice? Now, if you teach that to 7-year-olds at a Suzuki Violin Institute, it's a huge hit. Not because the song's any good, but because you get to talk about mice, and you get to talk about killing mice. And really, there's nothing a 7-year-old would rather do than talk about their cat, their dog, and killing mice. All right, let's play the melody. The melody is pretty straightforward here. It's first position, first finger in the 1s, middle finger in the 2s, ring finger in the 3s. Okay, so hopefully this will go nice and straight for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully the melody's not too much. This week your job is to work on the tough acts, and it is a bummer. Okay, you gotta anchor these two, ring and middle. You gotta anchor them. Okay, first note is just a down. Make sure your thumb is resting on that first string. Okay, then you add your index finger on the 2, and now you're gonna do a rest stroke on the 2nd string. Okay, and then lift up your index finger. And then your pinky jumps down here to get that G chord, the little decorative note here. Okay, and then you repeat, obviously. Okay, pinky's going to go up to the 2nd string, drag out for the 1, and then get rid of it. Decorative note, same thing. Pinky on the other string. Index finger on the 2. Back to your pinky. Pinky bunny hops to the 2nd string. Pinky on the 1st string. Switch it out to the 2. O2. Back to your pinky. Bunny hop to the 2nd string. Bunny hop to the 1st string. 202. Okay. Now let me give you a brief commercial message for Book 2. Book 2 has one song that's harder than this song. Okay? So the difficulty level of the tough acts in 3 Blind Mice is book 3-ish. I mean, it's super difficult. So if you can't do it, don't worry about it. We're gonna take care of that in book 2 anyway. But the basic idea is you've got these two anchored, and we're gonna do a whole lot of work with the pinky and the index finger bouncing back and forth, and it probably your hand is gonna just really hurt. It's like, ow, that's a whole lot. So again, I need you to play the G chord. I need you to know that for sure. This is book 1, and I need you to be able to play the melody. That's actually easier than Row, Row, Row Your Boat. But the tough acts is really hard. So if it's not going well for you, jettison it. Don't worry about it at all. All right, let's move into book 2. And book 2, this is our last day on book 2, right? And then we're going to start over. And you can thank me for Wheels on the Bus. You're welcome. This is harder than this is one of the songs that's harder than Three Blind Mice. Let's talk about F chord. Okay, it's your E chord. Slide it up 1, add the bar, and there you are. Okay. Now, when I talk about it being a 2-year process, I mean that. If it's for first year, that's what it's probably going to sound like. You don't worry about that. You want to close that door, Don? I'm worried about chat. There's your F chord, okay? And then you're going to get to the C chord. I just pulled my bar down, grab that second string, and move my middle finger. Okay? Just one time through. Here we go. 1, 2. The wheels on. Oh, I should count it in properly. It should be 1, 2, 1. Here we go. 1, 2, 1. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. And off you go. I would not spend a ton of time worrying about the song. I would put the song, who cares? Okay? I would spend a lot of time going F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, and I would do that a lot. The main reason is F chord is coming up. We're going to play a lot of stuff in the key of C, and so F always shows up in the key of C. It's just they're good friends, and it's going to show up. I don't purposely arrange anything in F unless I have to, but if I play it in F, you are guaranteed some C's are coming in, and occasionally that happens. And so getting comfortable with that. Also, make sure you're really comfortable with it in the beginning. Dun, 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 dun. You get that kind of dead, clunky sound. It's going to happen. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, we introduced the F chord in one of the songs, a couple back. In book 2, and then we wrap up book 2 with Wheels on the Bus, mostly because I know you're not going to spend a ton of time playing Wheels on the Bus unless you have a 6-year-old, then you're going to play it a lot, but just to make sure that you know what an F chord is, you're starting to get comfortable with it, you're accepting the fact that it's hard to do, and that you're not going to quit guitar over that, because a lot of people do, and when they get to bar chords they're like, well, I'm out. And so spend a little bit of time F to C, F to C, F to C. All right, that's the end of book 2. If you've been here for all of them, congratulations. You've now played through book 2 either for the first time or again, and that's pretty exciting. It takes us a while to get all the way through book 2. I think there's 20-some songs in this, and we just sort of march our way through it. So now let's go back to the beginning of book 1. Why don't you just replay it, the same things over and over and over again? Because you're going to find stuff the second time you go through things that you missed the first time. And I always feel like when I am learning a song there's a lot of things I'm missing, right? I'm just trying to get the song in, right? The second time I play it, if I've let it sit for a while in my brain, I go back, I'm like, oh, this is so much easier than I remember it being. And so I love the opportunity to go back and play old repertoire, especially old repertoire that's kind of easy for me. It gives you a chance to really develop your tone, get you a chance to really do something that's kind of beautiful and fun. So this is week 1 of book 2, okay? With A-Tisket, A-Tasket, we're talking about A chord, which comes from book 1. A-Tisket, A-Tasket, a green and yellow basket, and then remember E7, have your strategy to get from A to E. Drop your index finger, raise your middle finger, lose your ring finger. And normally on E chord we put the ring finger here, but on E7 we actually pull it off. I wrote a letter to my love and on the way and then back to A chord, dropped it. For that, in that situation, when I'm going from A to E, I'm leading with my index finger and then my middle finger's following. To get back, I'm really leading with my middle finger, dropping in my ring finger and getting my index finger over on top. So middle ring index. Right. So have that strategy in place where you're E chord, A chord, A chord, E chord, A chord, and that one will come together pretty quickly for you. Nothing to talk about on the melody here. There's those 0s, 2s, and 3s. So play it in first position. You won't use your ring index finger. You're going to play all the 2s with your middle finger, all the 3s with your ring finger. Play down through measure 8, go back to the top, come back down, skip measure 8, play 9 and 10. I would say this isn't the worst song in book 2, but it's not particularly great, right? But the nice part is, you know that the chords are not very hard, and when I say everything is hard in guitar, but you know what I'm talking about. The A's coming out of book 1, you're getting pretty comfy with it. E's and some slight modification of the E chord that you've done in book 1, so it's not super hard. The melody, not super hard here, so what that means is, hopefully that means that the tough axe is pretty straightforward. So this week, work on this, and if you've done this before, your goal is pretty beautiful tones to make it sound like you really care about it. Just get a tasket. Let's play through it one time, and then we'll move on. 1, 2, 3. This is the hard part. Get your pinky there. And of course you repeat. Right? We won't do that now, but you've got the idea. Play it super slow. Try to get all of your notes exactly in perfect timing. It is way easier to play than Three Blind Mice from a tough act perspective. The hard part, the moment that you know whether you got this or not, measure 5. When you drop that E7 and your pinky just lands on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, you're like, I'm a hero. I'm the greatest guitarist ever. And then you move on. Okay, so that's your work for the week at A-Tisket, A-Tasket. We're starting book 2. Very exciting. Okay, those of you who are new, welcome. And let's move on to Las Mañanitas out of book 3. You know, we're playing the hits. Book 3. I know we played it last week. All this time we still haven't gotten all of the stuff into my iPad. We must have a lot of music we work on. Alright. We talked about this last week, I'm sure. Let's play it all 3 ways. Let's do the chords. No, let's not do the chords because I can't sing it. Let's go directly to tough axe. Here's what we'll do. You play it whatever way you want to. Let's play it 2 times through. So if you're feeling tough axey, play it tough axey. If you're newer and you're thinking, you know what, tough axe is too much right at the moment, you'll play the melody. And if you're working on your D chord, A7, and G chord. Those are perfectly good. That's a perfectly legit way to play it. If I could sing the words, I would, but it's in Spanish. That's not. I can barely do them in English, right? So Spanish ain't happening. From the top, I'll play tough acts twice through, and you play whatever makes you happy. How about that? 1, 2. Chord on at the end to let your audience go wild, right? Hopefully, you're going to take your guitar in this week and play that for whoever you're waking up. Like, go get up early, go get your guitar and wake somebody up at your house by playing that song for them. Isn't that pretty? That's prettier than some of the classical stuff we're doing right now, which I think is pretty nice. And it's not that 5 that you have to sneak in there. That's like probably the hardest moment there at measure 13. Otherwise, it lays into your guitar pretty nicely, I hope. And hopefully, you're like, yeah, that's how fingerstyle guitar is supposed to sound. Really, and again, you don't have to play it fast. Everything comes together pretty nice. Hopefully, I had fun with that one this week. I like it. All right, so let's talk about your song for the week, Last Rose of Summer. And as usual, doesn't seem to be in my playlist. Let's make sure if I downloaded it into my ear at all. Last Rose of Summer, baritone chromatic ukulele. I have it for every single instrument except the one I needed for. So let me go grab the one off the website, DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. Scroll down. Last Rose of Summer. All right, so we have the A key of A. 'Tis the last rose of summer. So A to D, you've done that a million times. Left blooming, A chord, E chord, all alone. Okay, so your chords from book 1. All her lovely company are now faded and are gone. No flower of her. Let me show it to my iPad. Okay, page 2. Kindred, no. Now here's where everything goes to heck, right? You're like, oh gosh, bar chord. Bar chord, E minor shape in front. Again, don't think of bar chords as bar chords. Think of them, I gotta play an E minor, except I gotta play it on 2. Okay, so it's a really critical thing for a guitarist. I'm playing an E minor, 2 and 2, but I'm playing it on the 2nd fret. So now my bar is on 2. That becomes where your nut used to be. It's now moved up here, E minor in front. No rosebud is nigh. Isn't it beautiful? And if yours sounds like this, that's how it sounds right now. It'll go away depending on how much you practice. But I would give it a couple years. To reflect back her blushes and to give a sigh for sigh. Okay, so with bar chords, always be thinking about, it's not bar and then a bunch of weird stuff. It's always going to be, especially in fingerstyle guitar, it's always going to be one of your open shapes with a bar hanging out behind it in some fashion. So in this case, we're really playing an E minor with middle, with ring and pinky, and then we're sliding up to 2. Okay, so the chord, that chord there is going to make it all the difference. If you can get that one kind of on that chord itself, maybe just jumps out and punches you in the face, because it's the only place it shows up in the whole song is right there on those 2 measures, and you're like, oh man, that sounds really nice. Okay. Won't run through the melody. It hangs out between 2 and 5 for the most part, I think, entirely, doesn't it? And so I would again be thinking about melody in the second position, because there are no ones, right? So don't waste your finger down here. Put everything in second position. Now you're covering 2, 3. I don't think there are any 3s. 2, 4, and 5. You have every note covered just by playing in one position. So that's why that's there. If we had put this in a different key, we might be down here, but we also might be up here. This is a perfectly lovely key to play in. When you're in A, you're going to be playing in second position often. Okay, there is the melody. Let's run through, just talk about any weirdnesses in the tough acts. We'll go through it fairly quickly. 2-0, A chord. I'm going to use a mini bar with a pinky on 5. Pull it back to 4, grab the D chord, middle finger up, regular A chord. Ring finger up and back. E chord, slide your 1 up, A chord. Okay, that note there is important. Bong, right? It doesn't have to happen. If you don't do it, it doesn't matter. But that makes you sound professional. Hit this. Okay, I'll keep going. Index, middle, pinky, 2, 3, 5. Pull it back to the 4. Regular D. Page 2. A chord. I would just use a little bar on 2, pinky on 5. Back to the beginning of the main idea. And repeat. Okay. You'll notice measure 11 on the. If you're playing chords, you got to play the full bar, right? But if you're playing the tough act, you just play a partial bar. The hard part there is getting your ring finger or even your pinky up to that 4. That'll be a little bit of a challenge there, but you can do it. All right, there's Last Rose of Summer. I think, you know how the first book, you're like, I don't know if I really care about playing Three Blind Mice and Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And I keep telling you, it's super important. And then you get to book 2 and you play all these songs that you're really like, I don't know about these songs. You get to book 3, you're using skills that you learned in those previous two books to get these really beautiful pieces of music out. So I hope you like that one. That one is one of my, I don't know, when I ran across that years ago, I was like, that's the song I want to play on all of the instruments that I ever touch. And so, yeah, I love that. All right, guys, if you're just doing finger style work, then you are done for tonight. Book 1, 2, and 3. Book, again, big difference between fingerstyle and classical. In fingerstyle, we always give you the chord shapes. We never do that in classical. By never, I mean rarely. And in fingerstyle, everything's built around a chord shape. And you're either adding or subtracting to the chord you're holding. In classical, it gets a little dicier, right? So you still have chords under there, but we often don't tell you what they are. And so you're really thinking more in terms of just, well, this shape goes to that shape, goes to this other shape. And we tend not to put on the full chord. Well, not never, but less. You're really focused in more on individual placements. And then the other difference is that in classical they don't give you tablature because they're ridiculous, and in fingerstyle we always give you tablature because we're right. So there's that. All right, so let's move on to we're only going to get to the two that I revised last week, guys, and I apologize. It's just one of these things I got to get going here. So let's go grab Siciliano. Oh, I gotta get out this book and go into the classical book. And Siciliano, where are you? So Siciliano. All right. Anything written by Carcassi is good. How about that? I don't know if he wrote anything bad. So this is a pretty beautiful piece of music, a little complex for a book 0 introduction, but I think hopefully you had a chance to look at it this week. You'll love playing it. All right. Last Rose is a beautiful one. Isn't it nice? I love it. All right. From the top, Siciliano. Also on classical, we definitely are thinking claw position more than thumb position. From the top, not fast. 1, 2. Song. Let's play it one more time. I goofed up a couple of notes on there. Let's do it again. 1, 2. So much. All right, isn't that pretty? That's again. That's I did give you the fancy guitar, which is the finger style version of the same song. And I'm noticing, guys, I'm getting the scary warning sign from YouTube. My video may be choppy, but hopefully the sound is coming through. If you want to play the tough axe version of this, that's the fancy guitar. video is not good. Yeah, the video's getting all shaky. All right, so let's play through. Hopefully the sound is still coming through, and then we'll call it good. All right, so let me run through the other one that we have is Arcadian Lullaby. I will go ahead and play it, and if we don't make it, we don't make it. Okay. Arcadian Lullaby is a great one to have the thing fall apart on us. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4.